was this guy who told me, who made fun of me for my grades because I got 39 out of 100 for business studies. I know I'm a business owner and I got 39 out of 100. Not really cool, but I did. And he bullied me about it. He was like, oh my God, you got 39 out of 100. And he bullied me about it. He wrote 39 out of 100 all over my past paper book. And I was like, okay, it shouldn't be that hard to get more than 39 out of 100. So I'm going to try to be better than this. I wasn't expecting much. I was like, if I get even 60, I'm okay. And then the next semester came and had studied a lot. And I got first in the class. And I was like, I was so surprised that when my teacher gave me my paper and she was like, well done. I was like, what? I said, BUSSHIT out loud in class. And she was like, just because you got a good grade doesn't mean that you should talk like that. But she was like, anyway, congratulations. And so that's when I knew, like, damn, I do not belong in this box. I am capable of so much more. And that's when my life changed. And in a way, I'm grateful to that bully because I wouldn't be where I am if not for him, because he made me realize that I was capable of much more. I was not happy with where I was in life, and I knew I was wasting my potential. And I was like, I rather try and die trying than not do anything at all.
I understand.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that you share that, because one of the objectives of this podcast is to reach out to the audience out there who may be in a similar state right now.
Correct.
And when we hear more into your story, I'm sure they're going to be inspired. And we actually had on our season 1 an episode that focused on career and self-development. And I just remembered when you said you took a piece of paper and you started writing down, and that's one thing that was focused on it, which is the importance of taking a moment, taking a break, and sitting down and be like, hey, where am I right now? What do I want to do?
Exactly.
And as soon as you did that, you had more clarity.
For sure. Like, I firmly believe on putting things on paper. It gives you so much more clarity, because we have so many thoughts in our head, right? We have things about work, about our personal life, about what we're going to eat, and there's too much of clutter.
Social media.
Exactly. So the best thing to do is just note it down. And I did a SWOT analysis of myself.
Interesting.
My strengths, my weaknesses, my opportunities and threats. So I'm very self-aware thanks to all of this. And so
Can I ask you a question? Sorry to interrupt the flow. Where did you learn, or what made you think that you should do this? Like, what prompted you to be like, hey, let me do a SWOT? Was there anything you read down? You just naturally
No, it was not natural. Actually, I did a lot of research. I started watching YouTube videos on people that are focused on self-development and things like that, because I knew that if I was to be more successful, I need to fix myself. I think that's a mistake a lot of people make. They go straight into the business idea. They go straight into their project. They forget that it begins with you.
Preparation.
Exactly. And you need to fix the system, which is yourself, before you implement anything else. That's really important, because if you're not someone that, for example, I have a bit of a busy life, but you have to be a version of yourself that can accept that kind of work. The hustle is not for everyone. It's tough. You have to be tough in order to accept that kind of lifestyle. So people forget that you have to be that version of yourself to accept that type of success. Just like the way, an old car will not be able to run a long journey. You have to probably fix the car or get a new car in order to go to that new journey.
Nadia, I've got a question though. I mean, for the audience that's listening in to us today, or listening in on this podcast, you said you had that confidence, you didn't have a fear of failure. But how do you build your how do you strengthen your mentality towards that? What did you do? Gotta share that.
So for example, the theme for this year for me was just self-development. I was just trying to be the best version of myself. And so I built that confidence by showing up for myself. For example, if I told myself I was going to do this and this today, I would do it, because then that builds the trust I have within myself.
I'm going to do a little bit deep. Give me examples. Something you could think of.
For example, like I said, if I have a to-do list and I promise myself I'm going to get this done, then I do it.
So you had a to-do list that helped you.
I have a to-do list that's segregated in high priority, medium priority, and low priority.
So you had everything written down.
Exactly. Because otherwise I can't manage everything. I have a 9 to 5. I have 2 projects that I do on the side. Both are businesses that are fully functional. That's the only way I can track that. And on top of that, I have a personal life. I spend a lot of time with my parents, my grandparents. So I have to be able to remember, okay, call Archie today. Don't forget to do that. So things like that I have to, because that's
So
the
you'd
only-
be more of a structured routine person.
Yes, I have to. Like my calendar is in detail. It's planned in detail. I have to
I have a
block out.
question.
Yeah.
If you're put into a situation where you have to work outside that structured routine, does that worry you, or does that give you that whole, I'm a routine person, I don't like change? Does that affect you?
In what context?
So let's say, for example, you had planned today to come for this podcast and talk to us and give your story out to the audience right now, and we call you up and say, hey, you know what? We're not shooting it today, we're shooting it tomorrow. And we want you to sort of change your plans and then be there. Would that affect? Why I ask this question is something that I've constantly read up on and I've sort of referred to is when you're a routine person, sometimes
You're
you
too
struggle.
rigid.
Yes, too rigid. You?
I mean, you have to be realistic, right?
Yes.
Not everything is gonna go according to plan. So I mean, if you had told me that, you know, that we had to reschedule it, I'd be like, okay, and I'll go back home and I'll do what I was supposed to do tomorrow, and I'll switch
So you
to,
planned your week.
Oh, yeah,
also.
I
It's
have
not
to.
only for the day.
because like there are client meetings and things like that that happen after 5. So my after 5s are quite packed. Because that's the only time I can, because my commitment is in my 9 to 5. So yeah, that's what I would do.
Cool. So let's speak a bit more about that time you totally flopped. Tell us what's that moment, what's that incident. Give us a little bit more insight into it.
I think the truth is, in the most simplest terms, I would say I gave up on myself. I was like, this is the life I accept now. I will accept to be doing the bare minimum.
When did you give up on yourself?
I think it doesn't happen all at once. I think it happens gradually. Maybe you miss your meals. Maybe you stop doing your work more consistently. You forget to take care of yourself.
Were there incidents that prompted you to?
I went through a breakup that hurt. So yeah, that kind of changed my life. Because when you've been with someone for so long, and then that goes away, you kind of, it messes
Struggle.
up your, yeah, it's hard. But then loss is a part of life, you know, and you just have to go through it. But at that moment, you're not like, oh, what can I learn from this? You're like, oh my gosh, this sucks. So yeah, I went through that. I was with that person for 7 years, so it did sting. But I was sad, of course. But then I was like, I don't want my life to be like this, you know. This can't be all that is to life, you know. I can't just give up on myself like that. So that's when I started, you know, doing research about.
That's the turning point in your life. You use that as
So
a
I
blessing.
think, yeah, I feel like a lot of bad things always end up being for a good reason. You might not see it initially. So that's why I've started not glorifying failure or loss or heartbreak. I've started looking for what is this trying to tell me. Because rejection
Very
is,
important thing you said that you didn't start glorifying loss of failure, but you looked at it and see what can I learn out of
yeah,
it.
because that was probably one of the most heartbreaking points of my life, right? So I was like, if I can go through that, I can probably go through anything. And so that's why now when something happens to me in a way that I don't like, let's say I lose an opportunity or something like that, I'm like, okay, that's okay. Let's see what this is trying to tell me, because there's more likely a reason that this happened, and I'll probably get something better, you know? So I changed my perspective on things, and rejection is redirection. I think a lot of people mistake that. They often forget, because I was thinking back to myself when I went through this heartbreak about different times I've gone through in life that I thought like, okay, I'm never going to get out of this. And that I did end up being fine. And that gave me the confidence that I will definitely get through this as well. I made a poster for myself. I put a picture of myself when I was 5. And I put a picture of myself recently. And I was like, remember who you're showing up for. And I wanted to make sure that my little self would be someone that I would be proud of eventually. And so I pasted it on my door. That was the first vision board I made. And then I wrote some things. Remember how far you've come. Remember what you achieved. Remember how you got through things you thought you couldn't get through. So that was really, really powerful for me.
Something interesting the audience should hear. Remember, if you are feeling down and out, take a picture of yourself when you were small, a picture of yourself right now, and put it up there and be like, this is who I was. I want to be better. And that gives you that inspiration. And that was one thing that you did to come out of that moment of struggle.
That was one of the first things I did. And then I made a small vision board on an A4 sheet of things I wanted to do. Just some pictures of things. I wanted to get my driver's license. I wanted to finish SIM.
Small things.
Small things. Very achievable.
Realistic.
Yeah, realistic.
Smart goals.
Didn't do anything crazy like I'm going to be a millionaire by the end of the year. Just reasonably possible things. I want to have this much of savings. I want to spend more time with my family and things like that. I made small goals. And then I started working towards those.
When did you start making bigger strides?
So once I started doing the small goals and once I've achieved those, I realized I needed to do something much more than that. Because like I was.
What prompted you to think that you needed to do much more than that? Like where was that change? I'm just trying to understand your story so our audience.
I mean, I don't mean to sound proud or anything, but I made so much progress in 1 month from the time that I told myself I'm not accepting this life anymore, that I just got, let's say, a bit presumptuous and I started achieving for bigger, you know, because I was in absolute shock because I couldn't relate to who I was.
And this was the story that I was representing up on that time. It was a very personal story. And I remember there were, in my club, we had a lot of great speakers there. So I had Smedley. So yeah, there's a lot of great speakers, and it's not easy to win at club. But I was fully prepared. I was fully prepared for it. And I walked in there. I was confident. Yes, I was nervous for sure, but I was confident. I was maybe not going to place first, but I was going to place because I knew I had done the work. I knew I had what it takes, and people had told me that I was good, right? That's the confidence I was riding on. I went there, I delivered. And I felt the love of the audience. When there were moments to cheer, they were cheering. When I was saying something impactful, they were listening to what I said. And as soon as I finished speaking and I walked to my seat, it was people came up to me and congratulated me. And they said, good job, fantastic, great. That even lifted my ego even higher, right? I was like, I've got this. Forget second, forget third, I'm first. Right? I came, I sat down.
How old were you?
I think this was probably 22, 24.
Oh, wow. You were young.
I was young. I was young. Was.
Just putting it out there.
So I was around that age, I was 24, yeah. And I was feeling so confident. And my ego was boosted by everyone saying, listen, you did a good job. This was good. And I sat there, and while I was sitting there waiting for all the contestants to finish speaking, I was thinking at the back of my mind, oh, what do I say when I win? I was that cocky, right? The results come out, and third place, it's not me. Second place, it's not me.
Of course, you know it, you're number one at that point.
Of course, right? Everybody's like, oh, you've got it, you won it. First place, it's not me. And then everybody suddenly looks up at me, and I'm like, I was just clapping. I'm like, okay, just smile. You remember the Madagascar smile and wave, and that was just me. I was like, just smile and clap. But inside I was dying. I was really dying. So
and your parents were in the crowd, your family was there?
No, not at this time. They weren't in at this time. But this moment was so important to me. It wasn't just a stupid speech contest for me. The story was personal. And it was a time in my life where I was trying to prove myself. And the question came, if I'm not even good at this, then what good am I?
Right. Don't we all sometimes have that question? So if you're already intrigued to learn more about it, stay tuned. Continue.
Yeah, and I was just asking because this was something I enjoy. This is something I was trying to find myself. This is something I enjoy doing. And now here I am pouring my heart and soul into something I love. People kept telling that I was good at, and I wasn't even placing. And I had to really take a step back on that day and think, for the next few minutes, I had to do all that I could to stop the tears from flowing. Because it was really, really hard for me. And everyone kept adding to the burden. Everyone kept saying, oh, that was not fair. You should have won.
Do you think it was not fair?
I'll get back to it later. I'll get to it. I'll get to it later, right? So everyone was saying it was not fair. It was. I remember the night ended with me crying in my friend's car. At that moment, I made a decision. I'm like, I'm not going to contest again. Why bother? If everyone's saying I'm good, and if I believe I was good, and I put the effort to make sure that I was good, and I still don't win, what's the point? Life is so unfair, right? I'm like, where do I go from here? If I've done everything what people tell me, put the work in and results will come. I've done it. I really did. And people said it was good. So there's recognition for that as well. But still there isn't. I was like, no, this is not fair. Life is not fair. I'm not going to do this anymore. But I received 2 messages that night, which changed things around for me.
So there was someone that sort of helped you. Okay.
So there was 2 people who sent me messages, people who I respected, and they said, listen, you were good. You were really, really good. Just keep playing the long game. That's all what they said. And very next day, I went to Salak and I blew up these 2 messages on a huge board. Right?
So you visualize that motivational message on a picture?
I just basically put all their words. I don't think even they know it. I just put the entire message, I blew it up and I hung it in my room. And every time I doubted myself, I looked at those words. And listen, it's easy for somebody else to tell me that you've got it, you can do it. But for you to actually pick yourself up and go and do it again, attempt to do it again, it takes courage. And that's why even though those messages did come in, it took a huge effort on my part to be like, no, go for it again. Go for it again. And the next year I contested, again I didn't win. Right? Again, utter demotivation. But then I kind of learned something as well.
Gained something out of it.
I thought like, listen, if it hurts this much when you lose out, that means it's something worth fighting for. It's something worth fighting for. You've got to fight for it. If it hurts as much when you lose out on it, when it hurts that much. And it did. It kept hurting me and hurting me and hurting me. And I was like, no, I need to. And I always said like, it doesn't matter who everybody else tells me if I'm good enough. I need to prove that I can do this. People could say, listen, the judges, favorism, judges did whatever they...
Do you think, I know you said you'll come back to it.
Yeah, but you can say that about anything, right? You can always blame other people for your outcome. And I can't change it. I can't go up to the judges and erase their marks and give me, all my marks. I couldn't do that. What I could change was how I approached it, clearly there was something I missed. Clearly, even though everybody said, good job, there was something I missed, which didn't emphasize on the scorecard. So I went back. I said, okay, let's take a look at the scorecard. What did I miss out on? What are the scores? Like, how can I make this better? Because I am not somebody I hate it when people blame other factors for an outcome that I want. Because I'm like, I can blame them any amount I want, but it's not going to change it. I can't make them change. If I want to change the outcome, then I have to do something about it. I've got to change things around. So even though everyone was telling me to go down this path of like pettiness, of blaming the situation, the setup, and the speaking number that I was speaking on those series, they were saying, oh, you were the last speaker, that's why, everybody was tired by that time. It wasn't a factor. That I cannot change it. I can't change the number of the draw, which I speak in. What I can is like, even though if I'm the last speaker, how can I be mesmerizing? Even if I'm the last speaker, how can I draw in the audience? How can I, without a doubt, convince everybody I should have been the clear winner? And I think that was a very important lesson I learned very early on. Just having been to that competition and losing out on it so massively. I realized, listen, life isn't fair. It's not gonna come, wake you up and give it to you on a rosy platter. You've got to demand for it, and it's gonna make sure you beg for it.
After Popcorn Company, when I joined the corporate sector again, the experiences was very tough. I worked very hard. But I was underpaid, highly underpaid, and there was a lot of sexism going on, and that kind of made me constantly question my self-worth. Like I was giving so much to a company. That was not recognizing my hard work. I'm sure they recognized my work, which is why I got promotions without a pay hike. But then again, it was not a very easy place to be. I was at the latter part of it. There were times, certain months, where I had to go and beg for my paycheck. I had to make sure my team got paid because I knew how hard they worked and I knew how much they had to take care of. I did too, but I never wanted my team to go through that. So getting paid my commissions was even out of the picture. And I didn't want to be in a place where so much of
Stress related to things that you don't have control of.
Exactly.
Was affecting your mental
And I was giving my 100% at work. And then I realized I come out of work feeling like zero. I had nothing else to give out. I would take the bus to go home, and I would just cry all my way to going home. And I didn't want to do that. So when my dad passed away, that was
in 2021.
Yes.
August.
That was 3rd of August, and it still gives me the chills, unexplainable. That feeling of actually being all alone, all alone, because until you have your parents, you don't realize that you're never going to be alone. It's only when you have your parents. Until you have your parents, you're never, ever, 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 ever going to be alone, because your parents are always going to be there.
And 3 years into you starting Hunger Squad, him passing away so suddenly. It was a sudden death, if I remember right. Yes. That made it difficult for you.
That was extremely difficult. And fortunately, I had Hunger Squad to depend on. Because I didn't have...
You had something to keep you busy.
Yes. So I think about 7 days, or 7 to 14 days after my dad's death, I immediately got back to work, because I had customers relying on me. And these are not immediate orders that I got. These were orders that I got some time back, customers had paid for it. I couldn't actually give them the excuse saying, hey, I'm sorry, I can't attend to your 70th birthday party because I just had a huge crisis going on in my family. Or I couldn't tell my customers, sorry, I can't attend to your reception because, I had a crisis in my family. I'm sure they would have understood. I'm sure they would have. But that's not who I wanted to be. I wanted to be the kind of person that kept my word, honor my word. And that's what I did. And since losing my dad, something that could have broken me, I have that strength, I have all the teachings, and it also, I also constantly keep reminding me that I've got to keep his legacy alive, because everything I learned about cooking, about life, about how to run a business, how to run a family, I learned from him. Early this year, I opened my very first outlet. So I opened it with a bang. I was so emotional because I wish my dad was there, number one.
And I'm sure he was happy. He was dancing up there.
Yeah. And also because it was my hard work. That was, like finally seeing my name board out there. And having it on Google Maps, little things. It meant so much to me. Paper articles started going off, and people would just come looking for like, oh, Hunger Squad finally has an outlet, And the food was amazing. People loved it. But unfortunately, I had to shut it down. 4 months into the operation.
So another failure in your road to success, or working towards success.
Yes. it's like this was my thought process behind it. The moment I took a stepping stone into expanding my business, I had to shut it down. That was really tough, Denham. I've spoken to you in length about this. It was so tough, and I felt like such a failure because although I opened it with a bang, I felt like, no, I can't shut this down because I can't afford to have another failure. I need to somehow make this work. And it took me about a good 1 month to really
Analyze,
work on the numbers, and I had to come to the conclusion you can't maintain a place, maintain something that was not generating. So I have something to add to that. An experience I think might be important that I had just yesterday. So I had to let go of an employee who worked with me for 2 years. Amazing performer. She was the only person who could replicate something exactly the way I do. She would do exactly what I want. But she up to date is the best performer I've ever had since I started Hunger Squad. But attitude-wise, it was zero. So it came to a point where that was becoming a stress, an unwanted stress that I was not willing to tolerate anymore. And so the moment she realized I was letting her go, then she started saying, you can't do this without me, you need me. I was like, I don't need you. I don't need anyone. I started this with my own bare hands, I know the struggles that went behind it. So I don't want anyone telling me I can't run my business without them. So
I think it's very important, or something that the audience out there should also know is you could train a skill.
yes,
But one thing that's going to be tough is attitude, and ensuring that you have the right attitude and you recruit the people with the right attitude when you run a business is very important. You're going to always make a mistake of recruiting the wrong person. And I completely agree with you. Someone doesn't have the right attitude. The attitude means, look, I'm still learning.
yes,
I'm still under someone's wings. I have to respect that someone. I have to be patient. Now, you just short while ago said if that very person was wanting to do her or his own thing, you would be more than happy. And that's something that's important as the audience out there to sort of keep in mind. If you want to do your own thing, you could do your own thing, but whilst you are under the care of someone, it's about showing that right attitude, because something I constantly tell, and I tell this to the guys at work, skills can always be developed, but attitude is something that's difficult. I also think that comes from a place of insecurities, and that's not something we want to dwell deep into.
yes,
But as someone that's running a business, it's always important to have that right person at the right place, and it's always important to be like, no, I started this business by myself, which also means you need to know your business inside out. So very important. And that confidence, but it doesn't matter. You go, I'm going to run it. I'm pretty sure you're now more determined to make sure that you make it.
Yeah, it'll only mean that I have to work, I have to be in the kitchen for an extra hour, and I'm willing to do that. But with the wrong kind of attitude, that only means I can't hire more people, because one bad attitude can
Ruin everybody else.
ruin everything.
Very true. The
And
culture is
stepping
important.
Exactly. Stepping into a new year, I have a lot of young people working with me. I want them to have that thing, like, okay, this is my thing, we grow together. I want them to want to grow together, but also they should develop their own skills, not just this. I want them, something I always make sure is, if they have an off day, please don't call me. Have your off day. You don't need to call me, constantly check on stuff, tell me that is missing, this is missing. You don't need to do that. Just relax,
Take the time off.
Take the time off because you need
But
it.
plan ahead of time.
Plan ahead of time. Exactly,
You don't want someone all of a sudden calling you
Yes,
all day,
yes.
unless if it's an emergency.
So coming back to the question Minidu asked me, and with what you told, consistency. I don't think I answered that completely. Denham answered that. So consistency comes when you so desperately want that end goal to so badly, you know. Then consistency comes very naturally to you, and it becomes like a do or die situation. I've just got to achieve this, you know, because I want to prove to myself, forget about everyone else, but to myself, that's very important to me. Like, I want to prove to me that I can do this, you know. And I know the kind of lifestyle that I want. I know that I want to be able to support a lot of people out there. I know I want to be traveling around the world. I know I want to eat good food, meet new people, you know, just do a lot of things. So to do that, I need to be consistent and disciplined about what I'm doing right now, so that I can achieve that maybe within the next 5 years.
So for the
I get into my office, as in I do my walk, my round. It was a Saturday. Get into my office, open my bath packet, and then like a huge sound.
Just for our international audience, bath packet means rice packet.
Yeah.
Sri Lankan term.
Yeah. A huge noise. I like look out and like black smoke just all around. Everyone's running. It didn't click. Like, I mean, obviously fire, but like, okay, what on fire? So it took, I believe, between 30 to 33 minutes. We lost the entire building. Basically, our main production floor, including about 4 containers worth of stock that had to be shipped out Monday, Tuesday. This was Saturday, right? And this was during the processing that we were going through. So at that time, I mean, when you see a fire like that, when you see your factory on fire, you realize how useless you are, really. Like, you can't do anything. There is no amount of like water cans, whatever you think it's coconut, it's packed in craft bags and polythene. It's flammable. Like, it's just going to go up, right? You can't stop it. Obviously, we learned we didn't have sufficient safety parameters. So I'll talk about how, you know, the difference between my dad.
Yeah, I think we're all interested to know how you came out of it, but
yeah.
You lost your entire factory.
Yeah, I mean, 33 minutes, you lose everything.
And this is
coming.
You taking up the business.
Yeah, 3-4
14
months.
months.
Yeah,
14 to 16 months. In 2018, you took.
Yeah.
It's in 2019, and this
Yeah.
is with the April attacks and all that
it's come out
struggle.
of that. Yeah, plenty of orders in hand to work. It's going into the Christmas season, so production is high, buyers' demand is high, business is, you know, thriving, and it's not a bad time. It's a good time to be in business.
So you should tell the audience where every time they eat a Bounty chocolate to remember Markamani Mills.
Yeah, we don't do Bounty, but yeah, I mean, Bounty was founded in Sri Lanka by Silver Mills. So, then you I mean, so it was a Saturday, right? So I was just shorts, t-shirts, slippers. You know, that's how I went to work, because I was always at work, because I had to
learn the
I'm
business
still learning
on
at
the
that
ground,
point. I'm
yeah.
still learning. I really don't know much, right? So I'm watching the fire. I mean, we are like figuring things out. We're calling, trying to get the fire trucks, all that. But you know, at that moment, I just felt useless, and yeah, that was that day. The day went by. Friends came. My dad's friends came. I guess time just flew without just realizing. Then day goes by, and then that's sort of like the night. That's sort of like rock bottom, when you're just lying in bed, like what just happened, what's going to happen, like I don't know how to build a factory, you know what I mean? So I took over from my dad, so things were, you know, I would say 80% the right way. I was fixing the 20% that wasn't there. So now it's 0, and how is it going to work? He's not capable of really telling me much. I'm still learning his contacts, so, you know, having to fix those relationships to get help, it's different, right? So that goes by, and we realize, okay, I go to work the next day in office crying, just like confused, and then like 2 of my staff, like they came and like like whatever happens, we are with you. Like, just we'll do it. So we quickly figured out, okay, now older generation and new generation in terms of insurance is a big one. Like, my dad was a risk taker, but some risks I didn't understand what he was about. His insurance was like basically like nothing. So we took a huge hit because I think he insured based on where he started or throughout that, but where he grew to, like in machinery, stock, everything, he didn't match the insurance to that. And I basically had to learn insurance and the whole the whole drama with that. So we take that hit. Now we need to figure out, okay, where is the funding coming from, how long is it going to take. Now mind you, the staff is still there. Okay, so we had to first decide, okay, we're going to pay them 2,500 rupees a week. They anyway live in our housing or quarters. We won't we'll let them go to work anywhere they need to, but we'll just give them this at that time. That's all we could afford because there's 150 staff weekly I mean, so 10,000 rupees a month. And we said, okay, like, y'all just have this, go to work wherever it is, and we'll when we start back, we'll take this to just get by. So that, I mean, and that calculation, I don't remember how it came up, but I think my dad also said something, this is how we think, and then the manager said, okay, let's do this and all that.
But your dad was around at that time.
He was around, so obviously, yeah, so he was definitely around. So he didn't know where to start, and then that like confused me more, right? So now we're with the architect. So fast forward, so we basically, me and the architect, we are still literally drawing the plans, while about like 40-50 Basunes, masons, are like building. So there were like 3-4 teams. So because one team from Mayangani, one team from Anuradhapuras, and like, so one is building this side of the wall, other side of the wall. It's time is of the essence. Okay, so in 2 months we built the entire factory. In the 3rd month we installed all the machines, and at the end of the 3rd month we supplied to our customers. So I think that was a time where I gained a lot of respect that I was looking for from others, peers, workers, staff, other factories, because they knew my dad's situation, and they're like, if Jason didn't come, this probably would have been the end, because there's no way of kicking back up. They say the first generation builds a business, the second generation doubles it, and third generation finishes it.
And you wanted to break that cycle.
I was like, no, that's not.
Just repeat it again so our audience can hear it clearly.
Right. So what I hear is the first generation builds a business, the second generation doubles it, and the third generation finishes it.
And you didn't want to be that person.
I didn't want to be that person.
This moment that you hit rock bottom is when you're like, look, this is my opportunity to make it work. So tell us, from 2019 to 2024, what have you done to bring it to IITs? What changes have you done? What have you learned? Like, give us the story so people out there
personal
can
side,
take
I would
inspiration.
say I had a lot of growing to do in terms of being calm, slowing down, thinking. When you hear things, not reacting too fast. I think that people management is huge. I think people really don't understand that in a business, it's really about people management. I make this joke saying, Pol Gandai DC Vikunanda Lacy. Buying coconuts and selling DC is the easiest part of the job.
Managing people is the
Monday morning the driver does not reverse. So you're working with this type of, and we work.
I think it's the same, not in the manufacturing firm, even in the corporate world. I'm pretty sure there's people who run successful corporate businesses who say the same thing. Yeah. But I'm sure it's a different level for you.
See, what I had tough, I would say, is just put into perspective. I was 25, 26 now. I'm hiring people who are 30, 40 and above. Just even now, if you're sitting across me and I'm telling you my 5-year goals that I'm going to give you, you'll probably laugh, right? Because you're probably like, okay, who is this kid telling me, he'll guarantee me this and this and this. And so that challenge was tough.
And you overcame that challenge.
Yeah, I mean, they understood because I was never the one that was hiding at home and just coming and shouting. And, I have loaded DC bags in a lorry. I have unloaded. When
your hands dirty.
When the factory was just finishing, I mopped the front part of the floor. because I was pissed that they were slow. I took the mop and I mopped and vacuumed. So they knew that I am not that person, right? So
You led by example.
yeah, and I always say,
Do you think that all happened, that all meant so much more to you after that fire took place?
yeah, because I needed to learn everything at that point. Like, how did this happen? Why did this happen? Who was in there? What's this
See,
machine?
it was
How
not
does that
just
machine work?
running the day-to-day
Yeah.
operation, because you
Yeah.
have to, in a way, build it back again.
Yeah, I mean, you as the owner, you are the sales, head of marketing, head of repairs, boiler operator, dry operator, cleaner, security guard, drive. You are all that, and that's what people don't understand, and people didn't expect that from me, and I didn't see me doing
Why
it
didn't you
either.
expect that from you?
I mean, I make the joke. I failed A levels, like I wasn't that person.
So tell us a bit about that moment when the factory shut down due to the fire. What did you lose? Like, did you lose your place in the market? How was it like? How did you come out? Like, give us a bit about from this point to this point. This is what I've done. I mean,
So I think my dad did a good job. His PR was good in that sense. So our customers were, I would say, 99% with us. They understood. They knew this wasn't some game. They knew we were genuine. I told them that I will fulfill every contract that I have now, regardless of where the coconut price is when we start back. Stay with us, don't go.
And you honored it.
We honored it.
Mm-hmm.
One customer, not that they moved, but they found another supplier. So now even today we are bidding against that supplier. Unfortunately, before we had 100% access to that customer, but it's okay. It's part of it.
In a way, it's a humbling and also learning experience. Keeps you grounded.
Yeah,
to know
for sure. And we took it for granted, right? So now we know. So in that sense, it was okay. In the sense, the customers were okay, and for us, it was about how do we get this up? How do we maintain our staff? Now we have to understand, we have to also maintain our supply chain, right? Now when they stop unloading for us, will they connect with another factory? So for some of the bigger guys I had, I continued to buy from them, sometimes make a loss and sell to another factory, but I wanted to keep that supply chain with me. So you would, even during the construction time, you would see coconuts coming in and out. And I knew I had to keep that, because once you lose them, to get them back and all that, they're also scared, right? They don't know where you will be in a few months' time. So I kept that going, made sure the payments were on time. We are known for having all our payments on time. I want to make sure we kept that policy.
And these are principles your dad passed on?
I would say, yeah, because I would say some things maybe were not said, but were shown or were heard of, and then that's like, I thought, okay, that is that.
In terms of the business, Jason, what did you learn? What did you bring into the whole,
I think,
what with the fire, with your learning, what is it that you brought in new? What did you learn from that point of, you shared a lot about how you build things up, learned, and in people management, knowing the process, being aware of things, customer handling, all this is good stuff. But what did you bring new? Obviously, outside building a safety place for the business to run.
I think I would say, I think the management side of things, for me, it was always about, can I bring younger people into the business?
Why?
I felt that, this might get a bit political, but I felt that throughout the years we have done injustice to the children, to the youth of Sri Lanka. Because when I was in Canada, my friends were able to get a loan on their own, pay for their own school, get a job, pay that back. It's hard work, not that it's easy. Figure out, get a mortgage, get a house. They were able to do that. And I found it extremely unfair that because of politics or whatever it could be, that these people don't even get to see that. We are driving around in nice cars, eating in expensive hotels, and people don't want to talk about this, but I say, we are blessed, but if we are capable to give back, we should be doing that. And for me, it was like, okay, the village kid, let's get him into work. We are not going to pay him big, but we're going to teach him everything.
Give him the opportunity
To
build his
right?
capacity.
If it's a weekend degree, go and do it. If it's a diploma, higher diploma, go and do it.
And you wanted to fund that.
I wanted to fund that. I said no one can take away education. no one can take away what you learn. Whether I hope you'll stay with me long term, but if you go or you move on, at least you've got something for me that's worthwhile, not just a 50,000, 100,000, 200,000 paycheck that really, in the grand scheme of things, didn't do much, right? So that was what I'm consistently trying to bring, because I want them to feel a bit of how,
feel a bit more valued.
And valued, yeah.
They're like, hey, you know what? I'm not just some laborer. I have something that I'm growing. I'm building which is good. Which is something in this current day and age, which is very.
I think we are fortunate enough to have the capacity to do that. So if we don't do that, I feel, then what have we really done?
So that's one of the main things you got out of.
So I think changing the ideas of when I was a kid of where money meant everything to now, it's probably maybe third, fourth on the list, where I valued family more, what we had more, what we could lose, who your friends are.
Yeah, there was one moment, and like I tend to always find something positive out of it, and it's a little bit of a famous joke online and in my stand-up comedy shows, because I just like to laugh at things, right? Even though it took a huge toll on me. But when you first start working, your salaries are like 50,000, 60,000, and you're still happy with it, right? And then I got offered a very good position at a very good job, and they were like, "What's your expected salary?" I was like, 90,000 is okay. No, we'll give you 160. So I was like, jackpot. I was really happy. My mom was happy. Tati's happy. They are throwing parties. Tati's drinking more than me when I got the job. So all of that, right? And I went to work, and I was still like extremely happy and all that. But also
it's a place that you loved working to.
Yep. It was kind of like a dream job. And on the side, I would also like record some videos of TikTok and all, because I just love making people laugh. That is just my thing. I love making people laugh and all that. And for one,
would you say, I'm gonna hold you there, would you say that's your passion? It's to bring out laughter. That's why you like stand-up comedies, and that's why your TikTok is all about laughter, jokes.
Yeah, I just like.
That's your personality.
My personality is I think these Gen Z buggers will call it nonchalant, because I just.
What do they call it?
I'm just a chill guy. Because I feel like this day and age, everyone is so uptight and serious about things. I just need to lay back. It's everyone's first time living, man. Just have a good time. So I started this because of COVID, and everyone was at home, just to make people laugh. So I just like making people laugh in general and entertaining them. And where was I?
Yeah. You were speaking about this dream job, and you were offered, and your dad was drinking more than you were drinking because you got a good job. You were going on.
I was extremely happy. Like, even my girlfriend at the time, I was telling her, we were ecstatic. It was amazing. And I would enjoy going to work as well and all of that. But also on the side, like I mentioned, I did my TikTok videos, and I love making people laugh. And I'm known for being a little too raw online. Like, I just say what needs to be said, like unfiltered. And a certain joke I made online was taken up by this organization, and I was told to, pack my bags. That's what the people like behind the screen do not know. Like, they just think this bug is cracking jokes and all that, but nah. Like, because of making people laugh, I lost my dream job as well, right? And it was tough, because like for about a good week, I had to fake it to my parents that I was still working. So I would like still wake up and go to work, but just not work. I would just go somewhere and smoke a cigarette and come back. So it was really tough.
During that period of you doing, waking up, going to office in the eyes of your parents that week, how did you go? Like, what was it all about? Like, what was your thought process?
I don't know, man. I was like in a very, 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 I don't know, I wouldn't say like suicidal or anything, but I was just like, I have disappointed everyone,
Especially being a person who loves to bring joy in others, put a smile, it would have been tough.
Yeah.
Okay. So for a week.
And then I was just like, I can't do this anymore. And I just told my parents, but surprisingly, and they actually took it okay, and they really consoled me and all that. And I went for another job, and then that's when I just drew a line, and I was like, no more 9 to 5. I made sure I learned everything that needs to be done, because in my field I need to learn and like master specific skills, and I've done that in each organization I worked for. So now I can finally like stop. But when I lost my job, yeah, that was nasty. I think I started developing like addictions to certain things, and I was like drinking a lot, and yeah,
So on and so forth.
yeah.
So that probably be like the moment you felt like you lost it. I mean, looking at your story from a high IQ kid,
Yeah.
jumping couple of grades, getting a scholarship to Australia, in terms of the uni scholar,
Yeah.
but because of other matters you
Yeah.
couldn't, and that would have been a difficult time. But it still didn't bother you because not as much as what happened.
Yeah.
Because simply because you felt like you were doing social justice. You were sort
Yeah,
of
and
you were
like-
being using your profile.
And it sucked even more because like my bosses would just be like, we don't want to fire you because like you've been doing so good at work. And what's even worse is like the day I got fired, I get like we have this group on Teams with like the global teams and all of that. And one person just tagged me and said, great job on this marketing campaign the day I got fired. So I was like, shit, just because of my mouth, for a dumb joke I made, I'm losing everything. Yeah.
Have you been careful since then with your joke?
No. I was just like, I went towards a different route. I was just like, sorry for swearing, but fuck it. I'm gonna do what I really want to do, regardless.
Why? Why did you take that route? Because I'm pretty sure there is a story behind it. What drove you to be like, look, I didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah.
This pulled me down, but I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do because I'm not harming. What was your thought
No,
process?
one thing is, bro, that I believe in the big man upstairs, and I feel like if he has a plan, it is what it is. He makes sure like things happen for a reason, and I took it in a way where, okay, cool, I lost it for a reason. Maybe I'm meant to like
do something better.
Exactly. And I had to wait for the right time. Right afterwards, my parents, everyone's just telling me, bro, just go do a job. You doing this TikTok thing is not gonna work. But I had a bigger vision, And then there are people telling me like, I don't know TikTok and all that. But no, I had another vision. Yeah, I did make like a couple of bucks through TikTok, but no, I had a bigger plan. And I stuck to it. And finally,
When did you start? Like 2 years ago?
I actually started like putting in effort and making this sort of my thing only about a year ago. Actually.
So till then you were working.
Yeah.
So till about 21 you were working
Yes.
in the corporate field, and then you said, look, I'm just gonna move full time. Did you feel like you were taking a risk at such a
No,
young age?
I had
Obviously you had age on your side because
exactly.
you skipped 2 grades, but did you
No,
not feel that?
it was very tough. Because one other thing is I like had retired my dad because that's something I've always wanted to do.
Nice.
Yeah, it was. But then afterwards, you lose your job and you're like, shit, now I have to take care of the family bills and all that. So I still had to make that income somehow, like from a job or something. But I had to do some stuff through.
You had the support from your parents, not initially, you said.
No. Obviously, parents are supporting once they see the money coming in. But till initially, it wasn't like that. And that also, after I like registered and made it like legitimate, only then they were just like, okay, we see the vision, and now,
Sometimes it's difficult. I think a lot of our audience today following us would be like, I've had this struggle. My parents, the people that I look up to don't really see vision or see my vision. And you're one of those people who had that challenge and be like, no, I'm going to stick with it. And you put in the effort.
Definitely. I've tried everything, even like doing a SWOT or even showing them a presentation. Trust me, I have.
You did a presentation for your parents.
My parents. Trust me, I did that.
Most difficult customers to convince.
Honestly.
Clients.
And I'm just like telling them, this is what I'm going to do, this is how it's going to work. But no, like Tapi is like this whole corporate thing, like 9 to 5. That's what he did all his life.
Yes.
So he's like, only this is going to work. And for you to even start a business, you need like massive capital, and even that we don't have the money to give you. So, it's just you're gonna be failing basically if you don't get a job. And I still, I kept doing what I have to do, knowing I'm gonna hear this, hear that, and then on top of that, like you get into a relationship. That girl's family is just like, you're gonna get married to a bugger who doesn't even have a job.
You still have all that pressure?
No, not anymore. We're good. We're doing okay now. But just think of it like that. You go for like girlfriend's family dinner and all that, and they're just like,
What are you doing?
yeah,
TikTok.
exactly. You can't say that. and I had to go through all of that, knowing I
nearly
have
a year.
something. Knowing I have something to back. In my head.
Did that fuel you, though, the fact that people
Exactly.
Yes.
So in my head, I'm just like, you don't know what I have like cooking. I'm gonna do so much, but I had to wait for the right time.